Well, the danger of comparing yourself to others, letting someone else determine your behavior could be damaging, especially for growing kids who are afraid they don't measure up. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Erin LeBeau.
And I'm Tamsin Fidel. Well, almost everyone is guilty of it somewhere or another, right? Comparing themselves to a friend or a coworker, or even just complete strangers out there. Our next guest says 90% of women view themselves negatively compared to other women. Kids also returning to school and college, well, they're no different at all.
Yeah, so joining us now with her insight on turning those feelings into something more productive is master life coach and host of the podcast, How to Be a Dangerous Woman, Dr. Crystal Connor. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. As usual, I'm excited to talk about this.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get right into it. I like to say that comparison is the thief of joy. I say that to myself all the time, but why is it so easy for teens and kids to compare themselves to others?
It's so easy today because we have so much access to everybody's daily life through the internet, through social media, through television, and it's human nature for all of us, especially kids and teens, to want to be accepted and to be a part. So what happens is they take all of the information they're bombarded with from everywhere, and they start to see where they measure up, and that's how they start the comparison.
You're right. It really is about access, because when I was young, we'd go play outside. You'd have three people that you played with and you knew, and that's it. No one was calling you or, Facebooking you or whatever. But so some people think that comparing themselves to others could be inspiring to them. So they work harder and they do better. Do you think that's really the case?
I really feel like comparison is a no-win situation, and there are three reasons for that. The first is that it's just not fair. We as adults especially know that most people are going to only present the best of them on social media and in person. So chances are, if you're a child or if teens are comparing themselves, they're comparing what they might consider to be the worst parts of them to somebody else's presented best front.
Right.
And then on top of that, what happens is that you will have kids that start to either underestimate who they are, thinking I'm the worst, I'm not as good as this person, or even more problematic, they over-exaggerate who they are. So they're thinking, I'm best, nobody's better than me. And then I think that leads to the third reason that it's a no-win situation, which is that it creates this performative behavior. And we've all seen this in adults and probably been guilty of it. I know I have, but it's where you're performing instead of being who you really are in order to fit in.
Okay, so let's talk about this. What are some ways that you find that kids compare themselves to others, and how can a parent actually notice that this is happening?
When you start noticing that your child is talking about, because I have two teenagers, so I think when you notice that your child is starting to pay a lot of attention to what's going on outside of them, and you hear them mentioning the same things over and over again, that's a clue that they're hyper focused on something else.
Well, so, I think sometimes, and they might not intend to do this, but parents can be the ones that are getting kind of caught in that trap as they're openly comparing their child or siblings to other family members, not intentionally, doing it except to maybe be aspirational, and that really does backfire, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It backfires. And I think there are life skills that we can teach kids and teens, and even that are helpful for adults, that really help avoid falling into comparison.
Okay, so once a parent actually notices that this is happening, what should they do without being too overbearing?
Without being too overbearing. If you cannot be overbearing, I think there are 4 life skills that are very helpful to teach kids and teens. The first being to catch it early, to learn how to monitor what you're thinking about before you go down the spiral. The second thing that I think is very helpful is to teach kids to face the facts. The reality is, in a world full of over 7 billion people, somebody's better at math than you. Somebody's faster than you, and that's okay. That doesn't take away from who you are and what makes you unique and amazing. And I think that lessens the need for kids to feel like they have to be the best at everything. We just want you to be the best at being you. And then the third thing that I think is helpful is to teach children how to create what I call a success Rolodex, which I know totally ages me because no kid or teen.
I know what it is. I know what it is.
But they don't know what it is, So basically teaching them to be able to identify the things that are amazing and great about them and things that make them unique and they're excellent at. And it builds confidence in who they are versus them looking at what other people are doing. And then I think the fourth life skill that is such a beneficial skill for kids and adults are to be able to celebrate other people's wins. Yes. And when you have a child that's confident because they got that success Rolodex going, they can look at their friends and other people and say, that's great, they're winning. You know what? I'm next. Yep. I'm around winners. I'm going to be the next. And that helps keep them motivated, in momentum, and in less comparison.
Crystal, we're going to bring back the Rolodex.
I got next.
Let's bring it back.
I'm telling you what, I feel it. Always good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you so much, ladies.
Have a good weekend.